Hello there, and welcome to the latest edition of Live Music and Me, the music podcast where we ask some guests to come on and talk to us about their gig memories. Today's guest is the journalist, radio presenter, and DJ Jim Gellatly. And I hope you enjoy this one. All the best now. Hi Jim, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, thank you, Brian.
Good
Thank you for
man.
having me on.
Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate that. I know you're a busy man. So, are you ready to have a go at Live Music and Me?
I am indeed.
Good stuff. Looking forward to it. Okay, then. So let's kick off. So, first question is the first gig that you went to.
So the first question, I cannot possibly answer this, but I've got a good reason for not being able to answer this because it's one of two acts which both played the same venue twice in this year. So we're going
Right.
back to 1984, and it's either Lloyd Cole and the Commotions or Billy Bragg. Lloyd Cole played in 1984 in May and December, Billy Bragg in June and October. So I honestly don't know which was first, but it was either Billy Bragg or Lloyd Cole and the Commotions at what was called then the Cali Pally in Lothian Road
Oh
in
yeah,
Edinburgh. Yeah,
yeah.
it later became Revolution. I was actually the resident DJ there when it was called Gig. Then it became the HMV Picture House, and now it's a pub.
It's a
And now it's a
Weatherspoons now, isn't it?
Weatherspoons, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I
Ah,
remember Calipali. Yeah, of course I
yeah.
did. So, question is, which one would you like it to be then?
I'd like it to be Billy Bragg. I love
Oh,
Lloyd Cole and Commotions, but Billy Bragg is still, still an artist that I love. And the last time I saw Billy Bragg, seen him quite a few times actually. I'm just remembering I saw him in Austin, Texas, at South by Southwest one year.
right.
I've seen him at festivals. The last time I saw him, I think, was possibly the Wicker Man Festival in Dumfries and Galloway, and I'd had a couple of shandies, and I was in tears listening to the Milkman of Human Kindness
Oh,
and the likes.
yeah. Well, I'm so glad you've picked that. With the pleasure of seeing him back end of last year at the Usher Hall, and he actually encored with Life's a Riot. He played the whole album for his encore, so which was
Oh, do you know what you've just done, Brian? You've
go on.
made me remember another gig that I should have on my list that was at the Usher Hall. Oh,
Well,
ooh,
you can import it back in. It's your list.
I'll need to at some point.
You do.
Goodness me, yeah.
You do whatever you want, but they're two cracking guys. Bragg and Cole, brilliant, absolute legends, right? So,
Oh, that sounds like a brilliant duet. Bragg and Cole. Let's have that. Yeah.
sounds like Jewish lawyers or something, doesn't it?
See,
Okay.
they were both acts. I think at the time it probably would have been possible. It's either Kid Jensen or Janice Long on the precursor to the evening session with Lamack and Wiley.
Yeah,
Where they always used to, they'd have music paper reviews and things like that.
yeah,
And for me personally, that show was a lot more accessible than John Peel, and I probably discovered more music on that show than I
yeah,
did in the John Peel show, even though most of it was major label corporate fodder.
yeah. But some of it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good shout. Okay, we'll give you those two. You're allowed two first gigs, right? Okay. What about the last gig that you went to?
Now I would love to say it was yesterday, but
Right.
it was in December,
Okay. Right.
which is a bit of an whoa, yeah. The reason for this is I present a breakfast show on the radio. I live
Yeah.
in Glasgow. I work in Edinburgh, so that's my excuse. But no, that's shocking. Really, I should have been to more. But it was Gun at the Barrowland in
Okay.
December.
Okay. It was a bit of a seminal gig, I heard. Was it good?
Yeah, it was excellent. And the other day I was at an album playback when they showed a couple of the videos that were filmed at that gig. So I was looking out for myself, but didn't see myself.
No. And busy, was it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it was totally sold out. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Takes me gun tape. We were talking about Dundee briefly off mic there, and takes me back to Dundee a little bit. Gun when their first record came out, I was kind of kicking about that world at the time. So, yeah,
Oh, and now that's reminded me of another gig. Gosh, that featured Gun. It was Gun, Goodbye, Mr. Mackenzie, and River City People, possibly.
right.
They played the Black Isle Show dance north of Inverness.
Yeah, I
In,
know Black
in a
Isle.
big
Yeah,
in a big marquee. They decided they were going to have a rock and roll concert as part of the agricultural show, and they had Goodbye, Mr. Mackenzie and Gun playing it.
wow. When was that?
Hmm,
Roughly.
that would be late 80s,
Yeah,
possibly. Well, when did the first Gun album come out?
late 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, don't.
I'm guessing. In fact, I think I researched this when I did a special with Gun in the last year. I think it was 89.
Okay, we'll give you that. Okay, cool. So the next one was the gig that you travelled the furthest to get to.
This is tricky because I've been to a few far-flung places as part of work. So I did a couple of Miller music tours, seeing like Snoop Dogg and who else did we see? Oh, I can't remember, but that shows how much of an impact it had on me.
Yeah,
But once I've actually, we would, if we were on holiday, we'd maybe go to gigs. So South by Southwest is another one where I've seen some amazing stuff, like seeing the Fratellis joined by Pete Townsend on stage at an open air barbecue,
right.
seeing Foles playing in a tiny backyard, things like that. But I mean, that was very much for work. So I'm going to go with New York in 2003
Okay.
when myself and my wife Candy went on holiday. And as soon as we got off the flight at New York, it was March and it was very, very cold, very icy. I'm surprised it didn't fall over on my arse with the ice and snow and stuff. But we went, I think we dumped our bags at the hotel, went straight to the Irving Plaza, calls from Newcastle. We went to see Idlewild.
Very good. Very good. And were they good in New York?
Yeah, no, they were
Yeah.
excellent. I don't remember a lot about it because I was a bit tired. But it's funny because there was another gig that we went to. I've been to. It's probably New York's equivalent of King Tut's, a venue called the Mercury Lounge. So
Okay.
I've been to a few gigs there. So like to be champion there once, a couple of others, but one that sticks out in my memory. There was a band that had been playing in Glasgow, a New York band called the Realistics, and they said, "Oh, you're in New York. Come and see us. We're doing this gig." So I think they might have been the headline act,
Right.
but I think the more impressive thing is the two support bands. So one of them was a wee band from out of town called the National.
Oh, wow.
So I saw the National playing this tight King Tut's sized
Yeah.
venue and bought their like first sort of self-released album
Yeah.
at the time. And found a couple of them, and then when they first came to Scotland, sort of got in touch, and they came in and did a session for either Beat 106 or XFM, who was working for it at the time. So that would have been one of the first UK sessions that the National did because I'd seen them and met them at this gig in New York. But
Okay.
and
Yeah.
not only that, but another act on the bill was a band called Dopo Yumi.
Okay.
And there was a guy playing keyboards, I think. It looks familiar. And then there's a woman that was clearly his mum because he looked Japanese and she looked Japanese.
Right.
I'm thinking, then I realize the chap on stage with this band was none other than Sean Lennon. And it was, I think, Yoko stood beside
Wow.
me. So there you go. Yoko
Wow.
actually follows me on Twitter, but I think she follows 2 million people.
Yeah, but especially you, right?
Yeah.
So the Nationals, that's fantastic. So is that potentially the best support act you've ever seen?
No,
No. Okay, we'll save
no.
that then.
And
Okay.
and to be honest, I don't know 100% if they were supporting
Right.
because the Realistics were a band that sort of were almost a resident band
Okay.
at that venue being local, so it could have been. But the first time I saw Coldplay, they were third on the bill, and they were technically the headliners at King Tut's
Yeah.
because nobody knew who Coldplay
Yeah.
were, so the venue needs to sell to book local bands that will attract an audience, even though it's Coldplay that had the major deal. If you
Yeah,
put
I get that.
Coldplay as headliners, everyone would have left.
They might still leave.
Oh, well, they are a stadium
No,
act, whatever you think of them.
not at all. But as an aside, I love the National. Absolutely love the National. Wonderful. Great band. What about first gig with a partner?
This is an easy one because I met her at a gig, so I'm going to
Oh,
count
excellent.
that.
Yeah,
So it was a thing called the Big Bang at Bonkers, which
right.
was in the I think it might have been called Bonkers at the time. It was also perhaps later called the Palace in Bridge Street in Aberdeen.
Right.
where home with a legendary club night on a Monday called the Mud Club, which was brilliant. I mean, that was an alternative club night on a Monday, just absolutely rammed. They had a rock night on a Thursday as well.
Yep.
But Big Bang at Bonkers, some folk in bands had decided they were going to get some A&R folk up from London to check out the local scene. So it was guys in a band called Mea Culpa, I think, that organized it all. There are bands at the time like the Lorelei and the Dreaming. I'm trying
Yep.
to remember. Uh, I can't remember a lot of the other ones. There's I don't know if it was this one or another one, but there was a band called Sunfish that played one of them as well.
Right.
And Sunfish later became Geneva
Okay.
and signed to Nude Records. So that
Yep.
for a while, between names, the NME was listing them as the Scottish band because they didn't have a name, but they were tipping them before they were called
Right.
Geneva.
Okay.
And Andrew Montgomery, who's originally from East Kilbride, he was, I think he was a reporter for the Sunday Post or the Courier. And he was, I think, based in Dundee, which meant that Geneva were sort of a Dundee stroke Aberdeen band.
Yep.
I'm
Don't.
still in touch with Andrew, and actually saw Geneva playing in Edinburgh a couple of years ago when they did a reunion tour. So yeah, so
So that was your first gig.
at this time, I smoked and I'd run out of cigarettes, and I saw this girl with some cigarettes, and I asked her if I could have a cigarette, and that is how I met my
Oh,
wife. To my shame,
that's so
I
romantic.
was actually hosting this gig as well. But it's funny because Candy knew exactly who I was because she grew up in Invergordon, and I previously worked for Murray Firth Radio in Inverness,
Okay.
and the Mission, the sort of goth band, were
Yep.
doing a tour the late 80s playing. It was sort of Tenants Live tour. So
Yep.
they were playing all these sort of wee places. So they were doing a gig at they were doing a gig in Aviemore.
Okay.
And me and my mate at the radio station, Gregor, decided we were going to go to this gig after we'd finished our shows, even though the gig would have finished, and try and track down Wayne Hussey from the Mission. So we made a sort of documentary road trip of us going from Inverness to Aviemore to find the Mission, and we did finally get backstage into the dressing room with Wayne Hussey playing tunes on the piano. So
Wow.
we got about one word out of him, but it was great fun. But she remembered this. She remembered hearing this on the radio.
Yep.
So it was like, oh, wow, that's quite nice.
That's a really nice loop. Yeah. And how long ago was that then? Your first gig?
That would be 1992,
Wow.
apparently. But
30 odd
obviously,
years.
the thing which you heard me on the radio, I think would be in the late 80s,
Yeah.
possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're supposed to remember these dates, aren't they? They're supposed to be like etched in
You are? Yeah, I had to ask her.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Okay, cracking, very good. So what about a bucket gig in the past that you wished you'd got to?
This is the tricky one. The obvious answers, I suppose, stuff like Woodstock and all that nonsense. But I would probably actually go with Live Aid because it was such an important event,
Yeah.
and not many of the acts that I actually liked at the time were playing it. In fact, it was probably Adamant. That was probably it.
Yeah.
He got to do two songs, if that, and he did like his latest single, which
He did.
wasn't the Spirit of Thing, Apollo 9, I think it was.
He
And it's
did.
like, why? No, we want like ant music. We want Prince Charming, or even I don't know if he did Puss in Boots as first solo one, but yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, Live Aid, I reckon.
that's a brilliant shout. Do you know what? I don't think I know anybody who was actually at Live Aid.
Really?
I'm not. I mean, I need to go
Well,
back.
I suppose, having worked in radio and stuff for a long time, I know lots of people that were there.
Yeah.
Some of whom were working. I
Yeah.
think Grant Stott might have been there.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
he was maybe still at school, but he went down to it. I remember him saying that. Possibly
Yeah.
he was talking about that on the radio.
Yeah. It's interesting because funny you mentioned Live Aid. Myself and some friends were talking about it just recently, and
I thought you were going to say myself, but some friends were there.
no, I wasn't there. We were in the Isle of Man, believe it or not, on Live Aid Day, and we travelled back from the Isle of Man back home to the west of Scotland, ferry over, train up, all the took us about 10, 11 hours, and we had like the old, kind of ghetto blasters,
Yeah.
You had that the whole way over on the boat and the train, and like everybody, it was like a communal thing. Everybody was listening to the gig.
Well, I
Yeah,
remember I remember recording it on cassette and
yeah.
having loads of cassettes so I could record the whole thing. It's bonkers.
I've still got it in VHS somewhere,
Wow.
most of it, and a bit of America, which wasn't so hot. But you forget it was so iconic, amazingly
Yeah.
iconic, you know. So no, never see that again. Maybe I don't think not that kind of lineup. Um,
No, no.
it's a bit more
No.
fractious now, I think, isn't it? So
Yeah, yeah.
okay, yeah, brilliant, great answer. And what about a gig that most surprised you, good or bad?
It's tricky because I've been to a lot of pop. I mean, I used to write the pop column in the Evening Express.
Okay,
Well, that actually, that gives me one because I was thinking, I did the pop column and I had to go and see bands like E17 and Take That and stuff.
yeah.
So I saw Take That at the Aberdeen Exhibition Centre, and it was like I had to crouch down because the little girls stood see over me. Fast forward a number of years, and I'm trying to peer over the fat drunken women that were the little girls back then.
Yeah,
And that was at Hamden, and
yeah.
a magnificent show from Take That.
I was at
And
that.
I was, were you
I
indeed? Was
was.
that the one where the big inflatable man came up?
It was. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, also that night, Bon Jovi were playing at Murrayfield.
Right.
And I went to Bon Jovi at Murrayfield, introduced the support band on stage who'd won a competition, then drove straight back to Glasgow to see Take That at Hamden.
So you gave up Bon Jovi for
So
Take That?
I never saw Bon Jovi. I think I
Yeah.
saw the main support and then left to come back to Glasgow to see Take That because I reckon that would have been an incredible show. I'm sure Bon Jovi are good live, but
But not to Take That legends, right?
no.
Yeah. And it surprised you because it was better than you thought it was going to be, or
No, because
no?
Take That aren't a band generally I would choose to go and see. But I
Right.
mean, it was a magnificent show.
Yeah, it was. No, you're right. It was some comeback from them, really, wasn't it? When
Yeah.
they sort of fell off the grid. So what about talking about great shows? What about a great or a famous gig that you had a ticket to but you never got?
Now, this is a tricky one because I don't recall any, but I'm going to go with one that I had a ticket for that never happened.
All right, we'll give you that.
So 1994, one of the most important bands of that time were due to play at the SECC. The gig was cancelled. No, sorry, the gig was postponed and rescheduled because the singer had been sent to hospital or rehab or something.
Right.
And then it was rescheduled for another date. And I believe the rescheduled date was the day that he was found dead. It was, of course, Kurt Cobain.
Mm,
So I had a ticket for Nirvana. I've still got it somewhere.
yeah. Wow.
I'm lucky enough to have seen Nirvana
Oh, right. Okay.
live,
Right.
though. So it's not like I never saw. This sounds awful because the guy died, but I mean, I did see Nirvana live, including the infamous performance at the Reading Festival,
Okay. Yeah,
where
I've seen that on video. Yeah,
nobody expected to cut him to play, and then he comes on in a wheelchair.
that's right. That's indeed.
No, that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a seminal moment, and to be there at the Reading Festival for that was just incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And you talk about bands that, you know, have kind of left a legacy. They're right
Mm.
up there, aren't they? So,
No, absolutely.
yeah. I was shame you didn't get to see, but at least you've seen them.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I never saw them. So, wonderful. What about a gig that made you miss the last bus or train home or plane or?
I don't think I did write something down. What did I write down? I scored it out.
Well, for all sorts for this one, Jim.
Oh, well, actually, it's a bit different. I'm slightly twisting it. It's a gig that I went to in Paisley. I drove from Inverness to Paisley to see this band who I'd
Uh-huh.
seen at the Hayloft, and I think I fancied a girl, so I gave her a lift, and we went to this gig in Paisley to see this band from Glasgow. and nobody at the venue knew anything about the gig. So
Right.
we ended up having to sleep in the car. So that's sort of like one.
So you went
Marsha
away, you went to the
Fresca.
venue and there was no gig on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Marsha Fresca were the name of the band, fronted by a guy called Michael Jackson, if I remember correctly. And Michael Jackson became like an internet billionaire or something like that.
wow. Okay. So
So
that
a
was
Glasgow band.
was that Inverness to Glasgow to Paisley for a gig that wasn't
Well,
on
Inverness to Paisley, really.
Paisley? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And slept in the car.
But the band were a Glasgow band, if I remember correctly.
Right. Got you. Did you ever see them?
Oh yeah, well I'd seen them. I'd seen them in Inverness. That's why we went
Ah,
down.
I see. Right.
Yeah.
Got you. All right. Okay. All right. That's a good one. I've not had that one. I don't think. I think somebody said they were going to see Echo and the Bunnymen at the Barrowlands on a gig night that they cancelled. And they were
Oh.
walking up a Argyle Street, and people were telling them coming back from, back down the way from Gallagate that the gig was off, but
Oh.
they thought they never tickets, and they were just winding them up. And then
Oh.
way up to the door, and it was sign on the door. I think he had tonsillitis or something. Mike,
Oh.
I know.
Oh, that's funny because you've done it again. You've made me remember another gig I was at, which was Cream in Liverpool
Right?
when Echo and the Bunnyman first got back together again.
Yeah,
When the reunion, they played this gig in the nightclub Cream.
yeah,
So yeah, I went to that in Liverpool. Forgot about
yeah.
that.
There you
Thank
are.
you.
You're very welcome. That's what we're here for. We mentioned it earlier on, and you assured me you had another answer. So, what about the best support act that you've ever seen?
Well, the best support act I've ever seen, and one that makes my wife so jealous because she is a massive fan. Indeed, for her Christmas, I bought a ticket to see this band, and it's cost me more than I've ever paid for a ticket before. And we're as far back from the stage on level X or whatever as you could possibly be. It's the Killers.
Okay,
Um, yeah, the Killers at King Tut's
King
in
Tut's.
2004. They were supporting a New York band called Stellar Star.
Don't
Um,
remember that. Don't remember Stellar Star at all.
yeah.
Yeah,
Stellar Star got a wee bit. I mean, they had a decent album. There's a
right.
couple of good songs on there, but Stellar Star with the headline act. But the Killers were, the Killers were the support, and they were brilliant.
And were you in to see them, or did you just happen to be there when the Killers
I
come on? Or
think I just happened to
right.
be there. I think I was there to see Stellar Star.
And how good must they have been in King Tut's? I'm imagining.
There, oh, it was amazing when people were singing along. You got so, you got so,
Yeah,
and it's like that was the first time I'd heard that song, and everyone was singing along, so people had heard them. It wasn't
right.
like they were totally unknown, but for me, that was the introduction. So
Yeah,
wow,
that's
the
wonderful.
Killers, and I've seen the Killers loads of times since then, and met them on several occasions as
Oh,
well.
fantastic. Yeah, I have saw them, but obviously always in bigger venues.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to see them soon, actually, in Glasgow. So the Hydro, I think.
Me too, because that's
Mate,
what I got the wife for. I bet you got a cheaper ticket than I did.
I can assure you that, yeah. Yeah, I'll buy you a pint there. That's cracking, like that. What about best music festival you've been to?
Oh, it's so tricky. I mean, I did go to every single tea in the park right
Right,
back in the years at Strathclyde
Clyde.
Park. But I mean, the memory of tea in the park for me is tainted because of the last couple of years, the Strathallan Castle nonsense. Ballado was a great site.
Yeah,
Um, it did get too big for
yeah,
me. So, I mean, it's possibly because I'm older now and I can get the train there and back. I do sort of prefer Transmit. Also, it's not as far between stages, and you can see more of the acts that you want to see.
yeah.
But I'm going to go with Glastonbury because I always used to have a good time at Glastonbury, and it was incredible. You could go to Glastonbury, and you could literally go to the Glastonbury Festival and not see a single live act. There'd be enough of other things to go on. And at Glastonbury, I saw Johnny Cash. So hey,
Oh,
what more?
was that the legend spot that he did?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. That you would go for that alone, wouldn't you?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think me at the time, which I mean, it was so we're doing what's it, thinking, 93, 94, something like that. I mean, I
Yeah.
would like Johnny Cash, but I mean, it wasn't top of my
No,
priorities. But I mean,
no.
it was pretty special to be there and to hear him, to hear these classic songs.
Yeah, okay, that's brilliant. It's a great answer. I don't think we've had Glastonbury before, surprisingly. So, yeah,
What
I've
do
never.
people normally say?
Well, lots of Scottish stuff, you know, and like Benica Seaman stuff's come up, and
Oh, okay.
you know, but some really good
The
festivals.
like Kelberg Garden Party and all that sort of hippie stuff and mug stock and things like that. Yeah.
Of course,
But all
absolutely.
the well, you hippies.
Oh, I don't think I've ever been happy. Okay, so what about a bucket gig that you're still hoping to get to?
I don't think I ever will now, because I mean, there's a time when I would have said, "Oh, I'd love to see Guns N' Roses or something," but they're crap
Yeah,
now, really.
yeah.
I would actually say Elton John,
Okay.
um, because and my wife has been to see Elton John, so she's got me back for the Killers. Um, I was working on the radio. I had a pair of tickets for Elton John and Candy. When I mean, it was through the support act because Katie Sutherland, aka Pearl and the Puppets, was supporting
Okay.
at the SECC, I think, and I had a pair of tickets courtesy of Katie's people. So my wife Candy went with her late stepmother to see Elton John. So yeah,
Okay. And is he on his farewell tour at the moment? Is he
has he not finished it now? Is that not
finished,
done?
has he?
Possibly, yeah.
But you listen, while he's still breathing, there's every chance he's going to
Yeah, you
do
never know.
something. Yeah, absolutely.
Hasn't I mean, if you saw that bit during lockdown where he did a bit in his garden where he just does sound like sometimes Vic Reeves pub singer.
I saw it. Yeah, I know. I think if you're there, maybe you probably offset it if you're at the gig, I guess. But
Possibly, yeah,
maybe,
because everyone will
yeah,
be singing along anyway.
absolutely. Yeah, I seen him a long time ago at the Glasgow Apollo, actually.
Ah, wow.
Yeah, yeah, just the once, but it was fantastic. So, what about band or artist that you've saw the most?
Having a clue. So, stab in the dark. Um, could be James. It
Yeah.
could be The Wedding Present. Stereophonics might be a likely one, or maybe
Okay.
Oasis, because I'd have seen them sort of going up the ladder. So I would have seen them regularly
Yeah.
when they were doing tours. Otherwise, it might probably be like a local band when I was living in Inverness or Aberdeen,
Yeah.
could have been. But I honestly can't answer that one.
Yeah. And you've been to a lot of gigs as well, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
which is a great thing. So, some of those are belters. Favorite live music venue?
Eh, there's a lot of good ones, and a lot of not so good ones. Um,
Okay, least favorite live music venue. I don't
oh,
think we've ever asked that. So,
yeah, can't think of a least favorite.
okay.
Uh, because it's probably a place that was a gig once, and
Yeah.
they decided, no, this is not good. Um,
Plus, you don't want to say somewhere that they might give you comps to get back into again, right?
the so the
Favorite venue? What do you think?
I think it is no longer there, but I thought the ABC in
Yep.
Glasgow and Sockhill Street was a great venue, mainly because of the size, not too big,
Hmm.
and fantastic sightlines.
Hmm.
Whereas, of course, the Barrowland is right up there,
Hmm.
but unless you're sort of in the throng, um, you're not always going to get the best view. And the ABC was good because it felt nice and open,
Yeah.
with the big glitter ball as well. I mean, ultimately, when the ABC was open, I would have probably preferred the Barrowland because the Barrowland, I mean, the Barrowland, where I've seen, I mean, who would have seen at ABC, that I can remember? I mean, seeing like Noel Gallagher and The View and things like that,
Yeah.
and Gary Newman at the ABC, some great acts. But, I saw the Ramones, I saw Iggy Pop, I saw Motorhead at the Barrowland. So
Yeah.
I just missed out on the Apollo. Otherwise, the Apollo might be up there. Who knows?
Yeah.
But no, I'll
Yeah.
go with the Barrowland.
Okay. I mean, you're right about ABC. Actually, I think probably doesn't get the props it deserves. St. Luke's remains
It
quite a
doesn't
lot.
have any props because the roof fell in.
Touche. I was going to say St. Luke's reminds me quite a lot of it. It's
Oh
the
yeah,
same kind of
yeah.
shape and
St. Luke's is a
good
cool
acoustics
venue.
and
Again,
stuff, you
it's
know.
got because it's a church and they had to keep the roof up. It's got pillars though, which are a pain.
It does.
Although handy place because they have you put your drinks on
Put
the
your
bit.
beer down.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, there's always an upside, right?
yeah. Whereas at
Um,
the Barrowland, you just chuck it at the band.
absolutely. Kill or be killed. So a couple of tough ones to finish, Jim. Your best ever gig.
So difficult to answer. So I will go with something from a band that sort of helped me get into music initially, who I never thought in a million years that I would see live, and I've ended up I've seen them quite a few times live, probably 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
Sex Pistols.
Okay.
When Sex Pistols got back together in 1996, and did the Filthy Lucre tour.
Yep.
I went down to Finsbury Park
I
to
remember it.
see them play that, and stayed in a dreadful hotel nearby. Um, I went to the gig, got very excited, right down the front for the opening number.
Yeah.
Get in there, do a bit of pogo in and stuff. Fell over, hurt my knee, went right to the back, and watched the rest of the gig from the back. And I'm trying to remember who supported. Possibly might have been Three Colors Red.
Right.
Definitely Goldblade were on the bill, and
Yep.
John Robb is a guy that I've met in many occasions, and a brilliant music commentator and author, music historian, and punk rocker. Yeah,
And
that was
why
it.
was it
And
your
I
best?
think
Why?
I might have had VIP, so I was in the VIP area for a while, and I
Right.
saw like
Okay.
Alan McGee and stuff like that because I think he was managing one of the bands, but I don't know which one because I can't remember who else was playing.
So if you were down the front, pogoing, and you hurt your leg and you ended up at the back or the side, what? So why is it your favourite ever gig then? Other than it's the
Just
Sex Pistols.
because I was seeing a band that I never
Right.
thought I
Got you.
would ever get to see, and that feeling,
Mm,
oh wow, I
mm.
am standing here in London watching the Sex
Get
Pistols.
that.
That's why.
Totally get that. I never saw them.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah.
get that. I mean, he gets a bad press now and probably
Oh, he's an
deserved.
idiot. He's an
Yeah.
absolute idiot. It's really, really disappointing.
But
It
you
really
know,
is.
Sex Pistols and Pill, that's some legacy, isn't it, really?
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
I've seen Pill a few times as well. I remember seeing Pill at the Playhouse in Edinburgh, supported by the Blood Uncles.
Oh, I don't
And
know them.
the Blood Uncles were Big John from The Exploited
Okay.
was in the Blood Uncles, and they did a cover of Prince's "Let's Go Crazy," which was just awesome. And this was before John joined Goodbye, Mr. Mackenzie.
Right.
And John joining Big Goodbye, Mr. Mackenzie. For me, I mean, I was a big fan of Goodbye, Mr. Mackenzie. But the first time I saw them, I thought, oh, they've only got two songs, The Rattler and Goodbye, Mr. Mackenzie. But I
Yeah.
think John added a bit of edge to
Right.
them. So I'm going off on a tangent, I know, but
It's
you
okay.
keep reminding me of things.
I'll be telling him, if I've had Martin on, I'll be telling him they've only got two songs. So
No,
that'll.
no, no. The first time I saw them at Fat Sam's in Dundee, I thought they only had two songs,
Yeah, I
but
got you.
he knows that I love them.
No, me
I
too.
had a leather jacket. I had a leather jacket, and I had painted band names on it. So I
Yeah.
had Carter, the Unstoppable Sex Machine,
Hmm.
at the back, and I had the Goodbye, Mr. Mackenzie Man
Yeah.
logo on the sleeve. So there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. You've redeemed yourself, and
Yes.
Filthy Tongues as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic band as well. He's still going. So
Indeed.
okay, and to finish then, so one live album that everyone should have a copy of.
That's a tricky one. So my default would be dreadful. My default would probably be the Anti Nowhere League live in Yugoslavia, which is brilliant just for
Is that an album? Yeah.
yes, yeah, it's a ridiculous thing, but just from and I mean Anti Nowhere League, another band that I never saw when I was initially into them, but I've seen them a few times live now.
Right.
I saw them at the Barfly in Glasgow. I saw them the Dreadnought in Bathgate. So I've seen them live a few times, and even met Animal the singer, which I was so
Yeah.
excited about. But no, I mean it's they did a song called "Paint It Black" on this album, and it was
Not
only
not a cover.
later. Yeah, but I didn't know that at the time because I didn't really know the Rolling Stones.
Right.
So yeah, live in Yugoslavia. I mean, it's worth it just for
The
for
cover.
what he says between the songs.
All right. Okay.
But I mean, an absolutely ridiculous band.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, probably they probably still live off the fact that Metallica covered their song "So What."
Yeah.
But they did. I mean, they did an amazing version and a great song, great cover of Ralph McTell's "Streets of London,"
All right.
which is
Okay.
just
Not heard
brilliant. I
that.
think that was probably their biggest hit.
I need to go and have a wee listen to that. I love it when guys call out stuff that we don't know. It's
But I'm going to move that to the side and just
so.
say,
Is that your answer? No.
well,
No.
no, because it's a bit silly. So I'm just going to say because it was probably the first live album that I listened to on a loop, and only later discovered it was actually taken from 3 separate concerts.
Okay.
But hey ho, it's U2 Under a Blood Red Sky.
Okay, that squares us off. Actually, we're just having that debate just now on Twitter X about greatest live albums, and it's
Uh-huh.
just been voted on. Just last week, I think it was voted
Okay.
on, and there was that's discussion. But was it an album? Because I think it's only
Well,
got
it
6 or 7
is.
songs.
Well, I mean, it's sort of stroke mini album, but
Yeah,
it's this song is not a rebel song. This song is Sunday Bloody Sunday. That introduction is, he probably did it every gig, but that introduction just sticks in your head. But I think the concert recorded in Germany and in the States, and
three
three
songs at Red
separate
Sox. That's right.
concerts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah, we had a bit of a punch up with that one, but I can't remember whether we voted in or not. But it is an iconic album. I think
and it is all live tracks, even
yeah,
if they're not at the
yeah.
same gig.
Yeah, and the video itself, the gig, everyone remembers the Red Rocks gig, right? That
Yeah.
was a kind of MTV buster, wasn't it?
Yes. Iconic album cover as well.
Yeah, yeah. They're another band that you get a bit of a hard time now, don't they? But the
I
good stuff's brilliant, right?
at the NME Awards one year, I was standing in the line and said Bono was getting lifetime achievement or something like that, and I asked the question with Simple Minds in the back of my head, because I
Yeah,
always prefer Simple Minds to U2
yeah.
anyway. So with Simple Minds in the back of my head, it says, why do you think you are still relevant when other bands around when you came out don't seem to get the status you have? It was a question like that. He
Yeah.
wasn't happy, Bono. He's a grumpy sod, and sort of I think what a stupid question, and walked off or something like that. But anyway, that was me. I saw, actually, if you were asking me the most expensive gig I've ever been to, that would be a U2 gig.
Go on then. Let me ask you, what was the most expensive gig you ever been to, Jim?
Well, it was a free ticket, actually. It was a free ticket because I was invited to see U2 at the Astoria in London,
Okay.
and I was offered, because this, like, it's just U2 playing a club gig. I was offered 800 quid outside
Wow.
for my ticket. 800 quid. That would have been wow, and it was full of celebs in the bar. It was just crazy. So Jason Donavan. It's funny because I've got a couple of mates who both have exactly the same Jason Donavan story. Perhaps it's a pickup line. Who knows?
Okay.
Allegedly. No, but Bo, he asked me for a light. I was like, "Oh, you're Jason Donovan.
Right.
Here
Okay.
you go." This is when you could smoke indoors, and when
Yeah.
I still smoked as well.
Yeah.
And I also saw who did? Oh, Ed O'Brien from Radiohead.
Yep.
So I thought, oh, there's Ed O'Brien. I was drunk. I went over, hi Ed, how you doing? Oh, do you know this girl here? This is Tamsin Outhwaite,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
I'd passed going to a gig. I was working in London at the time. I'd passed going up the stairs. Her boyfriend was in a soul band or something that I'd seen the previous week. So I was like, oh, yeah, this is Tamsin. It wasn't. It was Cat Deely. So I'm sure I introduced Ed from Radiohead to Cat Deely,
I don't think Cat Deely
thinking she was somewhere else. Well, Cat Deely, I mean, I think she's just come back to the UK.
She's back, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing something with Ben Shepherd, because she went and did stuff in the
This
States, didn't
morning,
she?
yeah,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
back in the game again for
There
sure.
you go. See, I have stories that are
Thanks for
relevant
that.
to today as well.
That's brought us right back to today, Jim. That's
Yeah.
very impressive. It's unusual for us as well. So, okay, so that's us done.
Oh, well, there you go. Another one's just come back to me talking of this morning and stuff like that, and
Go on then.
and kids TV presenters. So, there used to be a thing called the Ms. Roadshow, Ms. Magazine, which was a magazine
Right.
for, I think, preteen girls.
Okay.
They would have a roadshow at the Capitol in Aberdeen, and I'd go along and cover it. So Michelle Gale, who was Hattie and EastEnders, interviewed her there. And Declan Donnelly interviewed him. I think Anton Deck or PJ and Duncan were hosting one of the gigs.
Yeah.
And I interviewed Peter Andre, naked, half naked, in a shower, because that was the only quiet bit where I could get the chat with him. This was before he was massive.
Brilliant.
So there you go. I'm going to shut up now because things keep coming back to me.
So maybe we should add in a question, the most famous celebrity you've ever interviewed half naked. Would that be Peter Andre then?
Yeah, probably. I haven't interviewed many people half naked.
No, me neither.
That I know of, because some of them might have been, sat in their boxers doing a phone call
True.
back in the day.
Very true, very true. Okay, we've just about got there then. So that was live music in me. Hope that was okay for you, Jim.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's
No,
great. It's great because it gets you thinking about all these gigs. And now I'm going to go away and dig out the tunes and listen to a lot of these things. I'm going to get Anti Nowhere League live in
Get it
Yugoslavia
on.
and blast it out and annoy the
Streets
kids.
of London. Get it
Yeah,
on. Yeah, Jim Gellatly, thank you very much for your time, mate. Thank you.
pleasure.